What's shaking, Booktube? My name is Cam. Welcome to another video. As you may know, after the bookpocalypse, I am now the last remaining booktuber. I'm actually the only booktuber left on YouTube. This is indeed a dark time for booktube and books and writing alike, but the reason for this video is that I thought we would need to take some exploration into what has happened to some of our other favourite booktubers. Where are they now? Through the course of this multiple part series, you'll come to realise that in the wake of the bookpocalypse, which you know all the details of, I don't have to go into that, but in the wake of the bookpocalypse, the booktubers have been spread across the globe, doing various things as far removed from books as possible. I'm the only one left. After years and years of research, I've discovered the locations of a lot of these booktubers, and I've discovered what they're doing, and be warned, this may be troubling to watch. The first booktuber that I found information on was none other than Peter Likes Books. I did discover that there was somewhat of a happy ending for Peter from Peter Likes Books. You may know he also has a number of other channels, one of which being a drama channel. Well, the good news is that his drama channel actually blew up tremendously. He now has, I believe, about 130 million subscribers, and as such he was approached by Hollywood, of course, and he is to star in the remake of Mrs. Doubtfire, coming out next summer, and I believe he will be co-starring alongside Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, so congratulations to Peter. My research on the next booktuber took me to the forests of, it was Canada or Vancouver, I can't really tell the difference. It took me to one of those places, and I discovered that after being busted for stealing identities, Clara Reads Books fled into hiding in the forests. It's no secret that I actually used to be Clara from Clara Reads Books before an imposter stole that identity to be the person who you now know as Clara from Clara Reads Books. She fled into the forests and regained her natural form, and people still say to this day that sometimes you might see her running through the trees. Upon further investigation, I found that a media team did actually find her and approach her, but she gave no comment. The next booktuber was Julia Sapphire from the Booktube channel, Julia Sapphire, and her story was one of the more tragic of the lot. I found that Julia had actually located one of the famous golden tickets within a bar of chocolate, and upon visiting the chocolate factory, of course owned by Willy Wonka, probably the most famous vlogger on YouTube, after visiting his factory, she actually ended up eating some of the gum there that she wasn't meant to touch, and tragically she turned into a giant blueberry. So I think it's safe to say that that's the last we'll see of Julia Sapphire. I know these are really sad stories, guys, and it is hard to see your favorite booktubers, aside from me, subscribe in such a way, in such tragic ways, but you need to be tough because we need to explore these things. We need to find out what happened to them after the fabled bookpocalypse. And the next booktuber I want to talk about is Bangity Bangs from Bangity Bangs. What not many people know about Mr. Bangs is that he was actually a very avid surfer, so upon visiting Australia to test out some of the waves, he saw a creature that he hadn't heard of before now, which is quite odd for someone who's into surfing, but he was actually approached by a shark, which people in California might not be too familiar with. I believe it's a creature native only to one very small beach in Australia, but that happened to be the beach that he visited, and well, he didn't stand a chance, unfortunately, and now Mr. Bangs lives inside the belly of a shark by candlelight. And you know, we might see Bangity again, but that shark is currently on a journey around the planet. It's a shark thing. They do it every like 30 years or something, but maybe he'll find a way out. Maybe not. The next booktuber was another booktuber who found her end within Australia, and that is Jasmine from Novel Thoughts from the channel Novel Thoughts. This one is a little less tragic because it's something that happens to all Australians, and this is something you might be familiar with if you were a fan of the book series Animorphs, but essentially at a certain age, when an Australian reaches their peak maturity, they will transform into a dingo. And that's what happened to Jasmine. So congratulations to Jasmine on your new spiritual dingo form. I'm hoping to reach that point myself very soon. Last but not least, this one was probably the hardest for me to investigate. There was not a lot of information on this. Turns out because it was being kept secret by NASA. And no, this isn't a flat Earth thing. We all know the Earth is flat, but I don't need to go into that right now. But essentially what happened was, Ivy from Ivy for Books, she had dreams of being the first woman on the moon. And that's actually what she retired from Booktube to do. Funnily enough, she retired from Booktube to do this just before the book apocalypse, so it's possible she doesn't even know the book apocalypse happened. She was successful in her training with NASA, and eventually she did get sent to the moon, but sadly they ended up leaving without her by accident. One of the captains for the ship was hankering for a McDouble from McDonald's, and they just didn't take the time to check if the whole crew was on board. So now Livy is living on the moon. And let me tell you, the Wi-Fi on the moon is just, it's absolute trash. I'm not too sure we'll hear from her again anytime soon. That's all we have time for today on this episode of Booktubers. Where are they now? But rest assured there are a lot more Booktubers out there doing a lot more interesting and sad things. So if this is a journey you're willing to come on, make sure you subscribe so you can see the next episode. Thanks for joining me, Cam, the last remaining booktuber on the platform. I'll see you in the next video. Catcha.